Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at something a little different.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called Thank You, Pokemon. Reflections on Parenting and Faith.
So?
Interesting title.
I know, right? And I had the same thought, like, Pokemon and faith. What's that all about? But it's actually really interesting.
I'm intrigued.
It's this dad basically writing about watching the Detective Pikachu movie with his son.
Okay.
And how it kind of sparked all these reflections for him about, his own parenting and his Christian faith.
Wow, so you never know where inspiration's going to come from.
I know. It really is amazing. Like, this dad went into this movie, probably thinking, do I have to?
Right.
But he came out of it with, like, all these profound thoughts.
I've definitely been there.
Yeah.
Like trying to be a good sport and watch something with my kids, even if it's totally...
And sometimes you get surprised, right? Yeah. You end up finding these unexpected connections.
Yeah, and this dad was really moved by this movie. Yeah, he really was. And he started thinking about, his own faith and the challenges of parenting. And he draws these really interesting parallels between certain Pokemon.
Oh, like which one?
And like the lessons he's learned as a dad.
Mm.
So we're talking about Pokemon like Charizard, Magikarp, Psyduck.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
And even Mr. Mime.
Wow, Mr. Mime, huh?
That's interesting.
Each one sort of representing like a different piece of his parenting journey and his faith.
Okay, let's hear it.
So let's start with Charizard. I mean, this is the Pokemon everyone wants their kid to be right.
Oh, absolutely. Powerful, impressive.
Yeah, like the high achiever, successful.
The dragon.
Right, exactly. But he questions this whole idea of raising a dragon. Like, what kind of pressure does that put on kids?
And on parents, too, right?
Absolutely. I mean, in today's world, there's already so much pressure on kids to be exceptional in every way.
To be the best at everything.
Right. Like, we're all trying to raise these perfect little Charizards, but maybe we're missing something in the process.
Exactly. And the author contrasts Charizard with this other Pokemon. Magikarp. Yeah, that little fish Pokemon.
Oh, right, the one that just flops around.
Yeah, seems totally useless.
Yeah.
But Magikarp eventually evolves into Gyarados.
Right, which is like this giant, powerful sea serpent.
Exactly. So it's like this reminder that potential can come from the most unexpected places.
I like that.
Maybe it's not about forcing our kids to be these high-flying Charizards.
Maybe it's about letting them be themselves.
Yeah. Recognizing and nurturing their own unique strengths.
Even if they don't seem impressive at first glance.
Right. And it makes me think about faith, too.
Okay, how so?
Well, it's not always about being flashy or outwardly successful.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's about those quiet moments of growth and transformation, like Magikarp evolving into Gyarados.
That's a really interesting connection. I like that.
Okay, so then the author moves on to Psyduck. And this is where things get really personal.
Yeah.
I think a lot of parents can relate to this one.
True.
He talks about how Psyduck represents his own struggles with anger and frustration as a parent.
Yeah.
Like those moments where you just lose it,
Oh, yeah. I think we've all been there.
Right. And he's really honest about it. Like, he even admits to having these outbursts that he regrets later.
It takes a lot of courage to admit that.
It really does.
Yikes.
But it's also so important because it makes you realize you're not alone in this.
Absolutely. We all make mistakes.
And he connects this to Psyduck's ability to hold back all that incredible psychic energy.
Right. Psyduck always seems like it's about to explode.
But it manages to keep it together somehow.
Like a pressure cooker.
Exactly. And it's like a metaphor for patience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for self-control, especially in parenting.
It's so easy to get overwhelmed and just react.
But we have to try to pause, take a breath.
Yeah. Choose a more peaceful response.
It's not always easy, though.
Definitely not. But it's something to strive for.
And that's where faith can come in, right?
Absolutely. Turning to prayer, to scripture for strength and guidance.
Yeah. In those tough moments.
And then we come to Mr. Mime.
I'm okay. This should be good.
Right. And this is maybe the most surprising connection of all.
I'm all ears.
The author uses Mr. Mime to symbolize Jesus.
Wow. How does that even work?
Well, so Mr. Mime is this silent Pokemon, right?
Right. It communicates through gestures and mime.
Exactly. And in the movie, the main character has to learn how to communicate with Mr. Mime on its own terms.
I see.
Through gestures, nonverbal cues.
Like meeting Mr. Mime where it's at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he connects that to the way Jesus humbled himself to come to earth.
And communicate with us in a way we could understand.
Yes. I mean, think about it. God taking on human form to connect with humanity.
That's powerful.
And the author even quotes a Bible verse to emphasize this point, John 1:14.
Oh.
The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, full of grace and truth.
Yes.
It is. And it's like the author is drawing this parallel to the way parents need to put aside their own perspectives and try to understand their children's world.
Meeting them where they are.
Speaking their language.
Connecting with them on their level.
It's a challenging message, but it's so important. And it's amazing that he found this inspiration in a Pokemon movie of all things.
It really shows that you can find these nuggets of wisdom and spiritual insight anywhere.
It's amazing. Right. We started talking about Pokemon and parenting, and honestly, they just didn't seem like they'd go together at all.
Not at first glance, no.
But then you read this blog post. It just shows you there's wisdom and insight everywhere if you know where to look.
It really is true. Like those old sayings, wisdom in unexpected places.
Exactly. It's like this dad finding spiritual reflections in a Pokemon movie.
I mean, who would have thought?
I know. But it makes you think about your own life, right?
Absolutely.
Like, where are you finding those little nuggets of wisdom?
Yeah, and how can we be more open to seeing them?
For me, this dad's reflections on, Charizard, Magikarp.
Even Mr. Mime.
Yeah. They made me think about my own journey as a parent.
And for me, it's like those lessons about patience, understanding really resonated.
And meeting your kids where they are.
Yeah. It's like those same lessons are at the heart of Jesus's teachings, too.
It's a beautiful connection, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And it shows how faith isn't just about, church or rituals.
Right.
It can be part of everyday life.
Like watching a movie with your kid.
Exactly. So I guess that brings us to the big question for our listeners.
What about them?
What seemingly ordinary things in your life might offer, surprising insights into your own personal journey or your faith?
It could be anything, right? Your hobbies, the books you read.
The shows you watch.
Exactly. Maybe there are these hidden gems of wisdom just waiting to be discovered.
If you just look at them a little differently.
I love that.
I mean, this dad found inspiration in a Pokemon movie. The possibilities are endless, right?
They really are.
All it takes is a little curiosity.
And an open mind.
That's it. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, happy exploring, everyone.